Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to troubleshoot a no start situation on your 944 or 924S. Hey guys, this is my 88 924S and today it's decided it is not going to start. So I'm going to be going through a few steps and trying to determine why this car isn't starting, and I thought that I would show them to you so that way hopefully it'll help you diagnose your no start issue as well. So let's get started. So something that you will always want to carry with you is a spare DME relay like this one here. When they go out, they can leave you stranded, and they are very simple to swap in, so it's a no-brainer to carry one with you everywhere. However, before I go and swap this one in, I'm going to actually try and turn the engine over here and just see if I have tach bounce. So as you can see, my tach isn't bouncing, so it is unlikely that the DME relay is going to fix my issue. However, I'm going to swap it out and show you how, just for good measure. So here I am under the dash where my DME relay is located. If you have an early 944 or 924S, you may want to consider keeping a Phillips head screwdriver in the car, so that way you can remove this upper fuse bank here and get it out of the way, because it makes room so that way you can access the DME relay, which is the second relay right there. That's what I'm going to be removing and then swapping in a new one. And if you have a later 944, you're going to find the DME relay located here in the fuse box that's under the hood, and you'll just replace it like so. So with my new DME relay in, I should now have fuel going to the engine for certain now, and let's see if it fixed my issue. So unfortunately that wasn't my issue. I'm going to have to dig a little deeper, but hopefully that resolved your issue. Alright, I'm now back underneath the dash again, and this is where the computer is located on early 944s and the 924S. There is a plastic cover that will be here. All you need to do is remove it, and then next you're going to take your finger and press on this metal here, and it's a clip that holds the plug in. Once you lift it, then it should pop out from this back side here, and then you'll have to rock it forward a little bit to get it to come off the hook here, and it should dangle like this. On later 944s, the computer is located here in the passenger side footwell. There's Velcro across the top of the carpet here, and you'll just pull this down. And I find it's easier to just go ahead and remove these 4 screws here, and then the computer will just come out and you'll be able to unplug it. So as you can see, the computer that is in my car has been repaired at some point. So I thought that I would just go ahead and try swapping in a spare DME. Now I know this isn't going to be an option for most people, but it is worth a shot if you just happen to have one laying around. So I have the spare DME plugged in now, and I'm going to try starting the car just to see if that has fixed the issue. Alright, so it's safe to say that the DME is not my issue. 2 computers would unlikely be both having the same problem. So I'm going to unplug it again, and we're going to test the speed and reference sensors from here. It's alright, I thought the first thing I would check was the reference sensor, since that's what causes the tach to bounce when you try and turn it over. So you can see I've got my multimeter here plugged into terminals 26 and 27, and I have my ohm meter turned to 2000 ohms, and I'm not getting a reading at all. Alternatively, you can go ahead and turn it over here to DC 20 volts and try and start the car, and you should see a reading of over 1 volt. As you can see, I'm getting nothing. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that my reference sensor is bad yet. I'm going to have to go under the hood and verify that. There could be something wrong with the wiring harness, so I need to check the reference sensor before I jump to any conclusions. So alright, I'm now under the hood, and what I want to do is actually unplug the speed and reference sensors and verify that they're in good condition. So you can see my plugs here, This top sensor here is labeled DG, and this is going to be your speed sensor. I'm going to take my multimeter here and open the clip. Makes it a little bit easier to remove the plug, and then just pop it off like that. Once you have it unplugged, you can pull it out, and you should see a notch at the top of your plug here. And with that facing up, you want to use these two pins here and connect your multimeter to it. And have your multimeter set on 2000 ohms, and you're looking for a reading between 600 and 1500 ohms. I'm getting a reading of 1030, so my speed sensor is testing good. Next, I'm going to unplug my reference sensor down here on the bottom. This one is labeled BG, and again I'm going to do the same test. And I don't get anything at all, so this sensor is bad, and I have a spare here that I'm going to swap in. So here's the reference sensor that I'm going to be removing, and I have my tools set up here. Let's see, it's just a 10mm socket on the end of a long wobble head extension, and just gonna pull it out like that. So right now I have the sensor pulled out. The hardest part was just getting my hand down in there to it, but overall not a bad job. Right here is my reference sensor that I pulled out. You can see it is the original one from the factory with the BG sticker still on it. And usually I throw these in the trash whenever I get the chance, but this one looked good. As you can see, usually the wires are fraying up here, and usually this plastic cracks out, but this thing looked good and tested good, so I just left it in there, and it came back and bit me. I almost always replace these things, and lesson learned. So anyway, on this car over here, the wires were starting to crack and fray up here, so I went ahead and replaced them. But for now on, if I have the intake off, I'm just going to go ahead and replace these on a car. It's all right. I have some new reference sensors ordered, and they're on the way. For now, I'm just going to be using this reference sensor. It's not in the greatest shape, but it does work, and shouldn't leave me stranded anywhere until the new ones come in. So I'm going to install it, and hopefully my car will start. So I now have the spare sensor in there, and I have my DME plugged back in. The only thing left to do here is see if the car will start. Alright guys, I hope these tips help you troubleshoot the no start condition on your 944. Just to recap a bit, the first thing I always do when I have a no start condition is just go ahead and swap in a spare DME relay or fuel pump relay. When these fail, which is quite common, then you won't get fuel to the engine. Now of course, you could see that when I was trying to crank the engine over, I wasn't getting any tach bounce. So that ended up being traced back to my reference sensor here, and had my sensors tested good, the next step would have been checking the continuity of the wiring harness from the sensors themselves to the back of the DME. Now, you saw that I'd already tried a different DME, but in most cases you're probably not going to be able to do that. So if everything tests to be fine, your sensors are good, your wiring harness is good, and you're still not getting a tach bounce, you could try just tapping on your DME and see if that helps. And beyond that, you may need to find someone with a spare and let you try it out, because that could be the fault there. So once you figure out where it's at, it's either going to be in your wiring harness, it's going to be in your sensors or your DME, then you should be good to go. So I hope that helps, guys, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.